Hey fellas, in this video, I'm going to be going over one of the most requested videos to date. I've been asked this question many times through email, through some of the free communities that I had in the past. I've had it on consultation calls. Like, this is a big thing that I'm seeing, and might as well just make a video on it because this is one lesson that I myself struggled with, and it took some time for me to learn it. And this one thing can accelerate your recovery and can even leave you feeling stuck and trapped, even if you've been weeks, months, or even years clean. So this is a very important video. This is a prerequisite to having real freedom, not just going clean for a little period of time, but like real freedom. This is a requirement. And in this video, I'm going to show you what it is and how you can change and, not have this be something that works against you. All right, so what we're going to be speaking about in this video is around shame and guilt and how that affects the addictive cycle, how it keeps guys stuck, and how to get this out of your life so you don't feel like you're living like a shell of yourself, or you don't feel unconfident or feel like you're living a double life, but instead feel like yourself again, feel like the man, and just be able to operate with confidence in all walks of life. So let's first start by talking about how shame and guilt amplifies the addictive cycle. Now, primarily what I'm going to be talking about in this video is shame. Guilt, I don't think is a terrible thing. I think it's your body's natural way of telling you, like, hey man, don't do that. This is bad. Probably shouldn't do it in the future. Shame is more of a powerful negative motivator. It destroys your self-esteem in some way. It makes you feel less than. And it does the same thing as guilt does, but it just brings you down instead of just kind of like a warning sign telling you not to do something. So shame is not just an effect of the addiction, it's the fuel that keeps the cycle running. And every time you've acted out, you don't just feel regret or that guilt. You feel like you confirmed some of your worst fears about yourself. I'm weak. I'll never be free. You say to yourself, there's something wrong with me. I'm bad. I'm going to hell. Like there's going to be this whole negative narrative that's going on in your brain when you go into relapse and give into these temptations. And this mindset really only leads to avoidance, right? You'll see what I mean in a second. And instead of confronting these emotions, many guys turn to their addiction as a temporary escape. And it doesn't have to just to be going and acting out. If you have this shame, it brings pain. You don't want to run from that pain one way or another. You can double down and act out again, or you can go to another form of escapism. Oftentimes, when I see guys relapsing, they turn to their phones. They, uh, you know, just try to distract themselves for 1 to 3 days just to kind of feel like themselves again, or they distract themselves with the work just to feel like they're being productive now to kind of counterbalance everything. This is a common thing. You'll know that shame is a problem in your life if you kind of avoid and double down on escapism after a relapse. Now, this creates a loop, right? So you go and act out, you have this shame, it leads to emotional distress and pain, and then it leads you to go and numb through escapism, which brings more shame, which just is fueling the whole entire system to continue. It's a negative spiral, right? It just gets worse and worse and worse, and it accelerates, right? And really, the more you try to suppress the shame, the more it has power over you. You can't run from it. You can't distract yourself from that shame. It really only makes it worse. It's something that you unfortunately have to face head on. And this is where I see a lot of guys going wrong, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So, a study published from the Journal of Behavioral Addictions found that individuals who experience high levels of guilt and shame are more likely to engage in compulsive sexual behaviors as a coping mechanism, kind of like we were talking about. This means the harder you try to punish yourself for past mistakes, the more likely you are to repeat them. Instead of breaking free, shame locks you into a self destructive pattern. Now, let's talk a little bit about how shame lingers even after staying clean. This is really interesting. You don't understand how many questions I've received from guys who have told me that they're a year removed from their acting out behavior, they're months clean from porn, or they're in a really good position in terms of like a number of days clean, I guess. But they tell me, like, hey, man, I still feel trapped. I still feel bad about the things that I did in the past. It worries me. I'm fearful. Like, what if I get caught? What if something comes, like bad karma? Maybe the things that I did in the past are going to lead to a punishment from God or something like that. And many people kind of worry about that and how this is going to really affect them in the long, grand scheme of things. And it's all rooted in shame and shame over the things that they've done in the past. So I want to talk more about this because this is really important. This is what I struggled with the longest time, and I even have to remind myself of the lessons that I'll share with you in a little bit because it is powerful, and you really do have to face this if you want real freedom. So many people believe that if they once stop acting out, the shame will disappear, but that is not true. Even after months or years of staying clean, that internal voice of shame can linger. Why? Because it's not about the behavior, it's about the perception of yourself. This is the thing. This is key. If you still see yourself as damaged or unclean, no amount of abstinence will make you feel free. And honestly, you won't be free. You have to change the perspective of yourself and your situation, which I'll show you how to do if you actually want to be free, in my definition. So instead of moving forward, you'll always stay stuck, always looking over the shoulder at your past version of yourself, which you have not fully let go of. Psychologist Brené Brown states, shame corrodes the very part of us that believes we're capable of change. That's a big quote. Think about that a little bit. If you let shame define you, it becomes a constant reminder of your past rather than a tool for growth. And this is where I see people mess up. They use evidence. I think that's such a big thing because people who struggle with this do this in other areas of their life where they use evidence that since they've done this in the past or since they've struggled with something, that they're not able to be better. They're not able to improve or get to the life that they want to have. They leverage it as evidence that they can or cannot do something. And that's terrible for you, right? And I'll show you how to do this in just 1 second. But the key is, what you'll see is that it's not about changing the behavior. It's not about changing your thinking. It's about changing the narrative you tell yourself. And there's a difference. And real freedom doesn't just come from stopping the behavior. It comes from healing the relationship with your past self and seeing your past in a new light. Now, if you're still in the addictive cycle, it's still a good thing to deal with the shame of what you're dealing with now. You don't have to be fully broken free of your addictive cycle to start to work on your shame. In fact, that's a common misconception. In reality, you need to address the shame now, even if you're still struggling, because it can be a game changer and accelerate your progress. And when you stop seeing yourself as broken, you'll start making better choices and you'll stop avoiding discomfort and start to face reality with more strength. Now, here's how to overcome shame by changing your perspective. Now, most guys' perspective is that before they were acting out, going to massage parlors, seeing escorts, watching porn, they were like at baseline, right? And then they started going and giving to this behavior. They became a worse person. They were not as optimized. They didn't have the energy. They didn't feel like themselves. And when they get clean, they'll just go back to baseline. But that's not true. That's a lie. When you get clean, your trajectory is greater because you've learned skills, you learned lessons, and you've acquired benefits because of staying clean. And it doesn't just get you back to baseline, you become a better person because of it. And you're going to stand out if you have these benefits and if you're staying clean, because most people don't learn these lessons if they don't go through this and actually have these experiences. So the thing is, let's start here. Instead of seeing acting out as proof of failure, let's recognize how it's taught you valuable lessons. It's taught you resilience, right? If you're watching this video right now, you might not be fully broken clean, but you didn't give up on yourself. And trust me, if you're watching this video right now, you are resilient and you're only going to continue to acquire this lesson and really use this the more you go through this process. You'll also learn self-awareness, which is huge, right? You'll understand the patterns and the triggers and the reasons why you want to go and escape. You'll see the core problems as what's leading you to go and act out. And just having that self-awareness is something that is really going to improve all aspects of your life. And even with benefits of freedom, like this is probably the real thing that once people experience this, they just don't go back because there are real benefits to freedom. If you haven't been explained this, I'll give you a couple real high level benefits that you will experience. And that is more mental clarity, You'll have more control over your decisions. You're in control of your life, not your emotions, not your impulses. You'll feel stronger. You'll have more self respect for yourself, more confidence. You'll have better relationships because you're not living a double life. You're not feeling shame. You feel good about yourself, feel good about your life. You're also staying clean, so you're not filled up with all this lust in your head. You can connect with people better. You have a real sense of peace, which is huge. You have a sense of fulfillment. Like, there's so many other benefits. I can really go on from that, but that's a short list of things that you will experience if you are staying clean and no longer giving into your lust and acting out. And a shift in perspective is one of the most powerful tools in overcoming shame. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." And this is the position that you're in right now. And by the way, great book, Command Search for Meaning. If you haven't read it, it's a must read. It's a classic. Those books that stand the test of time, you need to go and read them because there's some powerful stuff in there. But this is acting out, really a way to break your addictive cycle. You don't have control over your situation right now. It's going to take skills. It's going to take mentorship. It's going to take guidance. It's going to take a lot from you. And the first thing that you have to change is yourself and your perspective on the situation. Just by anticipating these benefits and knowing that there's a better life out there for you can give you hope. You need to change inside out, right? You can't force change into your life. You can't force yourself to stay clean, which is why NoFap and that whole community sucks. It's terrible. They say go to the gym, change your life. But the problem is you're acting out. You don't want to do that. Real change happens inside out. And it all starts with changing your perspective on yourself and seeing your past behavior as something that, yeah, it happened, but it's going to teach me lessons. I'm going to become a better person because of these struggles. And honestly, this is going to make me a stronger, better person in the grand scheme of things. What I tell a lot of guys who are struggling with this is I say you need to come to a place where you're grateful that it happened. I'm grateful that I, struggled with all this stuff because it taught me lessons and it brought me to a better spot. And you will be in the exact same place as me when you're looking back at your past life and, seeing everything that you've learned and grown because of this. But you can do that now. You don't have to wait till you're free to kind of have that change of perspective. And this is exactly how you must approach the past. You cannot change what happened, but you can change the meaning of your life, right? And that's the key thing. Change happens inside out. And this is a good roadmap to do it. So become grateful for the lessons that it's taught you. If you're still acting out in the addictive cycle, anticipate these benefits, anticipate these lessons. And as you're seeing progress and making growth, try to find these wins, right? Give yourself hope. And when you can have that hope in a better future, you're going to be able to start to make a difference between you and your past self. As you go through this process of recovery, you change, you get better. It's a requirement of breaking free. So if you're seeing progress, if you're seeing results, just know you're becoming a different person. You got to remind yourself of that. I don't care what you did in the past. I don't care if you're still acting out right now. Looking back, I've done some terrible things that I'm regretful of, and sometimes I'm shameful about it as well. But the thing is, I was a different person and I've learned the lessons. I've become a better person because of it. And honestly, man, I'm happy that it happened because I would not be where I'm at today if not for those past struggles. So, hope this helps you guys. It just gives you something to think about or a way to change your perspective. This is very important. If you watched this far into the video, I respect the hell out of you because this is a lesson that is not the flashiest. It's not the most exciting thing to watch or consume, but man, this is important to freedom. And if you need help, if you need mentorship, you need to learn how to develop the skill sets necessary to break free from this. I definitely recommend to go down below and book a call with myself. We'll go over your situation, really find out what's holding you back from breaking free. And if I can help you, I'll see how I can help you, man. So with that said, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.